The Chinese regime on June 15th quietly lost the battle of demanding the World Trade Organization, WTO, to recognize its market economy status. On the same day, the European Union, for the first time, has decided to impose tariffs on Chinese companies that operate abroad. Scholars believe that this is a major setback for the Chinese Communist Party, CCP. Beijing has given up the lawsuit of requesting the WTO to force the EU to recognize its market economy status, Bloomberg reported on June 16th. According to the article, the Chinese regime quietly lost a landmark dispute, providing the EU and the US with greater legal certainty to combat low-priced Chinese exports with artificially high tariffs. The lawsuit was initiated by the CCP in 2016, claiming that China should be automatically granted the right to be treated as a market economy and anti-dumping investigations 15 years after joining the WTO. It only pursued the case against the EU. However, the EU and the United States disagreed because they believed that the CCP has given China's exports an unfair competitive advantage by means of massive subsidies. The WTO ruled against China in the interim ruling in 2019, and China halted the dispute right after. As a result, the ruling has not been made public. Nevertheless, on June 15th, the Chinese regime allowed the lawsuit dispute to lapse and expire. Reuters indicated last year that one trade official said so much of the ruling had gone against Beijing that it chose to back away before the result became official. They lost so much that they didn't even want the world to see the panel's reasoning, the official said.
The Chinese government has probably recognized the fact that now all sorts of evidence are against it, and that many world leaders and international organizations are actually furious at the CCP's cover-up of the virus that caused the pandemic. The CCP understood the difficulty of fixing the situation, so now it decided not to struggle in trying to smooth things out.
Frank Xie-Tian, chair professor in business at the University of South Carolina, Icahn, said that the CCP indeed had to give up.
Let's say if the WTO, like other international organizations, kowtow to the CCP, but in essence the CCP also knows that the United States will not recognize it. So the fake status means nothing to the CCP, which still does not have any tariff benefits. It's not good for them to fight in court for days on end, so they quietly gave up.
On the same day that the CCP gave up the battle, the EU announced a 99.7% tariff on 2 Chinese glass fiber fabric makers as of June 16th. The 2 Chinese companies are Zhushi Egypt Fiberglass, a subsidiary of China Zhushi Group Company Limited, and Hengshi Egypt Fiberglass Fabric, a subsidiary of China Hengshi Foundation Company Limited in Zhejiang. They are part of the Global Infrastructure Development Plan under the CCP's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, also known as One Belt, One Road. The EU believed that these 2 Chinese companies received unfair subsidies from the CCP and the Egyptian government, causing the European local manufacturers to be unable to sell. This is the very first time that the EU investigated whether the CCP subsidizes a Chinese company based in foreign countries, and also the first time for the EU to apply anti-subsidy duties on Chinese exports.
This pandemic allowed each and every country to understand that there are many problems existing in the Chinese Communist Party. The so-called globalized free trade is established on an extremely weak supply chain with no national security. I believe that we will see more and more countries around the world rejecting subsidies and supporting anti-dumping through filing complaints in the World Trade Organization in the future.
The European Union also proposed to protect European companies from being taken over by the CCP.